Hello, hello, and welcome to Friday Live, where I am going to do a little card reading on some of the energies that are happening right now. There is actually a lot going on. So we've just had that full moon, and that was very much energized with, the whole Mars energy. There was a lot of tension with that full moon, and there was a big T square to Neptune. So there could have been a lot of emotion. A few people, clients, my one-to-one clients are really feeling this energy right now, and that it is quite tense. Just what we need to do is to be able to, when we're going through any tense or difficult period, we need to breathe first of all, just breathing into where you are, breathing into what's happening, and then noticing what your thoughts are. Our thoughts are what lead us into everything. So we need to be conscious all the time of our thoughts. So a few people were feeling anxious, really anxious. There's a little bit of anger coming up as well in some areas, and that is actually, you know, any of these transits are quite tumultuous at the moment. Normally, a full moon can bring a lot of tension. There are oppositions. The sun and the moon are opposed to each other, but squares are also a very it can be a triggering angle. But actually, what those triggers are is to get us to take action on something. So when we tune into where we are, when we tune into what we're feeling, we can get the big idea of what we need to take action on. And then some of you were also feeling overwhelmed. So basically, if you're feeling anxious, if there's anxiety is a fear of the future. Anxiety is focusing too much on what if, and what if down start type of thoughts. Um, Now, some people may not even think that they're thinking these thoughts, but they really need to be looked at, because if you're bringing down your vibration into a lower density, something like anxiety, we're creating it every moment, and we do not want to be creating more situations to be anxious about. Now, even if something, that seemed disastrous were about to happen, and there's a lot, there's a lot going on, and people are talking about a lot of stuff. I just, as you know, if you've been following me for any length of time, I tune out. I have my own little bubble. I do not watch any mainstream news or media, and I think it's all propaganda and lies and just fear mongering. So I just don't watch it, and I find out myself what I need to know, what's going on. But mostly, I would get my own intel or ideas from my cards, from what I ask myself. Um, but everything that I'm getting, I suppose 2 years ago, 3 years ago, in 2019, I was really tense, and there was, I had this sort of gut feeling that something big was about to happen. And I did know that we were moving into a much different, a bigger time. And I still believe that what we're going through is the chaos between an old system and a new system. And we can allow ourselves to get carried away with that rush of chaos, and start to worry, and allow ourselves to fear where we're going, because it all seems so chaotic. But what we need to do is to be able to bring ourselves up to a height, bring ourselves and our emotions up. If you could imagine that you were just viewing and observing the situation, if you were up, I follow Pam Gregory a lot, and she talks about being on your eagle's perch. I, I, I feel that what we need to do is to remove ourselves from the drama. And if you've been following me for any length of time, I speak a lot about building a bubble. In any of my meditations, I put a bubble up around, so that you're sitting in this bubble and that you can view and observe what's happening around you, but you don't get stuck in the drama of it. You have to sort of move back from the drama and just look. If you don't know what's going on, and if you're just feeling stuck and feeling anxious, it is because some part of you is associating with fear of moving forward. Anxiety is a fear of the future. Anger, on the other hand, is being stuck in a past, being stuck with something that has already happened. So anger needs to be let go of, and they both need to be let go of, but to let go of what that situation is. Now, this is what my whole work is about. You know, I work with people quite closely doing uh, um, a form of hypnotherapy that we regress sometimes, not always, to find what is the block, what are the situations that are holding us down. And I work with cards as well. But I feel right now what we really all need to do is to watch the thoughts that are going on in our head. Bring yourself back to the law of thinking. Now, some of you will already have my um, 11 universal laws, and I am going to make that a very accessible program, a work alone program. But the law of thinking is the first law, and we need to always know what we're thinking, because remember, a thought is just something that it may not even be ours. We may have picked that thought up from somebody else, and a thought will form a chemical reaction in our body. If it's a great thought, well, then we are moving, we are feeling a great feeling. And if we're thinking of something that is of a lower vibration, our emotions mirror that. Now, what my best advice for a quick solution would be to stop and just notice. Don't try to squash down a negative feeling. Don't try to squash down or not look at something or move away for something or drown it out by something else, like, I don't know, a glass of wine or some sugar or some, something that takes you away from an emotion. We need to notice and look at the emotion and breathe into that. Just slowing down your breath and filling up for anxiety is certainly filling up your solar plexus with fresh air and just grounding yourself, and then being curious. What was I thinking to feel this? Just being curious. You may not get the message straight away, but it will come to you. And if it doesn't come to you, well, then you need to look deeper. Um, so that's what I would do with anxiety. I just breathe into it and stop and notice and where my thoughts are. And then don't leave it at that. Move yourself towards a higher vibrational thought. And we can do that by many ways. A really easy thing to do is to just look at where you are right now. Notice the people in your life. Notice something good. Notice something that you can be grateful for. Anything. A talent that you have, your body, being able to walk in nature, being able to put your feet on the ground, being able to breathe fresh air, anything. And then it may be something bigger. As you start to notice and are grateful for tiny things, you notice bigger things around you. And that very quickly moves you to a different place. And the other thing then is to start dreaming big. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute, because there's some really big transits happening that I will be making meditations for. So with anxiety, that's really, the only thing that I would be on a call or on a live be able to help you with like that, is to just breathe into it. Anger or a frustration or any of that, it's because of something from the past. That past might have just been this morning or an hour ago, something that triggered you, or something that you are hearing or listening to that has triggered an older memory. And again, breathe and just question. If you can journal or just write down something, what's going on in your head. And sometimes people find it really hard to know. But if you are curious and you stop trying to figure it out, you'll start to get that knowingness, or drops of information will come to you. The other thing that somebody didn't mention was that she found a lot of overwhelm. There are, I mean, overwhelm would have possibly come with our anxiety, or even tensions with that last full moon. And if overwhelm comes from just too much going on in your life, again, be curious about how things can be easier. How I wonder how things can be easier. The thing that I like to do best, the a small and easy trick for overwhelm is to brain dump. Just write down everything that you have to do, that you should do, that you must do, that you ought to do, that everything that's in your mind, brain dump it, write it down on a piece of paper and just let it there. And then look at it again a little later with a highlighter of some sort and decide what of that list do you absolutely not need to do? What of that list can you outsource to somebody else to do? And and then notice the things that you must do, that you want to do. Give yourself permission to let go of things that you never really want to do or somebody else can do. And you can even ask the universe to show you, how can I get help with this particular thing? And then what you do have that you do feel that's left, do one thing and make it a thing that you're putting off doing. The best way to tackle any sort of overwhelm is to do the thing that you least want to do first. Because if you get that done and you do it as early as you can in your morning, if you get one thing that you absolutely are putting off done first, you'll feel absolutely on top. You'll feel like you've won your whole day, and the next will be easier and easier. Those are just my things right now for those three little bits, because I'd really need to see people in person doing readings and working on them to find out more. But any of you that already have the 11 spiritual laws, start them again. Go back to the law of thinking and play it for at least a week. I'm going to make this available as a standalone product, and it will be a 12-week program where every month there will be a new law. Um, and I'm going to make a sort of a masterclass on talking about the 11 spiritual laws again, because it is really important right now. We have such an opportunity to really go big. There are many, many aspects in the coming weeks that are going to be really powerful. Next Tuesday, we've got the summer solstice. Now, people also could be feeling the energy of that already. I'm going to make a meditation on Monday to drop in here. It's always good to do these things beforehand. You can do it again on the day. And the summer solstice is on the 21st, and that is when the sun first moves into Cancer, the sign of Cancer, which is a beautiful home, sort of nurturing, mothering. It's a beautiful sign, and it when the sun enters that is when the solstice happens. So in the northern hemisphere, it's summer solstice. In the winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. But we are feeling that, and it's almost I get a lot of my information from Pam Gregory and from Tanya Gabrielle on astrology, bit of numerology as well from Tanya Gabrielle. But what they're sort of saying is that there's a like an opening of the veil, or sort of the ability to really open up and tune into downloads from above, from the universe, from source energy. We are very open to receiving inspiration and intention and bright ideas. And that's why over millennia we've been, doing, you know, tributes and meditations and, you know, dancing, whatever, but opening up to celebrating the solstice, the summer and winter solstice, and also the equinoxes. They're very powerful times of the year. And because we have one every 3 months, so in 3 months' time, we'll have another equinox. The energy from this has an effect for 3 months into the future. Now, on the solstice, on that day, the moon is going to be conjunct Jupiter. So the moon is about our emotions and our internal feelings, and Jupiter is that big expansive sign. And they're going to be, both the moon and Jupiter are going to be conjunct in Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac. And that conjunction is really going to kind of, it's going to make it feel much bigger for us. The whole thing is going to make it feel bigger, because Jupiter, it sort of is expansive, it's joy, it's wisdom. It can, it can emphasize finances, it can be abundant, it can be wise, and um, I'm trying to think of what else, but it's really going to empower on that date. Mars is still also in its home sign in Aries, which it rules. So there'll also be that sort of passionate energy could be triggering as well, because Mars, the shadow side of Mars, is all about. It can be aggressive, basically. There are a lot of there is a square between the sun, which is in Cancer, to, oh yes, to both of those. I'm trying to read my notes. So the, what this is really going to bring is sort of allowing us to step into courage, to do something new, to do something big, to initiate something. It's about starting something new, even though we are in the phase of the moon where the moon is waning now, and we don't tend to start something new, but that energy is going to make us want to come up with a new idea, or transform ourselves in some way. So I would reckon the best thing to do, and I will do this in a meditation, is to just get curious on something else, on something bigger. There's really a huge amount of energy as well, because, did I write this? Yes. Jupiter is actually sextiling Mercury, which is a very positive, thinking big, going beyond somewhere that we've been before. So thinking of something that our soul may want, but we haven't even allowed ourselves to think that we could possibly have or go for something else. So there's a huge kind of an expansive and thinking big, going somewhere where you haven't been before. Let me see. Mars also is still out of bounds. So there's a 23-degree elliptical orbit, and sometimes when Mars goes outside of that, it's considered out of bounds. And because Mars is that fiery, um, passionate, but also kind of aggressive, there can be a little bit of a feeling of people sort of, losing control a little bit. So we do need to watch and observe and stay on that perch, that eagle's perch, where we're looking and observing, and just bringing yourself above it. If you can imagine that you're just noticing things that are going on. When clients come to me that are stuck with a situation, with a person, either a situation or a person that are sort of attacking, and they find it hard to deal with somebody else's energy, I get them, and I've done it with a lot of you in any of the meditations, is to just imagine that you're in this sort of bubble of non-reactive mode. You're looking and viewing and observing, almost like you are viewing, I don't know, some TV show that you're not even that invested in, but you're just curious. You're looking and you're curious, but you're not emotionally invested. So you're viewing, observing in total neutrality. And if there is a situation that's going on with another person, or lots of people, or even if it's not somebody that you particularly come into contact with, just view and observe and be curious. That sort of energy, if you're dealing with somebody, they recognize that energy, and it just bounces their own emotions back to them, and it keeps you in that safe bubble. And it takes a bit of practice in doing that, but we need to get out of our reaction mode and get into responding. When you don't react and you're totally neutral, you can then respond from your highest self. And don't forget that you can always ground and contact and call in your highest self. Our highest self is there all the time. We just need to call on that and on any source energy around us. There's a lot of information. I've watched several videos coming up to this, and there's a huge amount of information about tiny planets that we've only just discovered since 2000, the year 2000. I think the first of them started being discovered out in the Kuiper belt. So they're far distant and tiny planets. So we wouldn't have even have been aware of them, but they're moving more in their elliptical orbit closer to where we are, which is really interesting that they're moving. There's a huge amount of them right now that are coming into play. And I would really suggest, if you want to know more about that, to go and watch Pam Gregory. She was giving a talk with somebody called, I think, David. It's not David, it's David. Farrell or something like that, but a very interesting one on the solstice. And she has a lot of her last videos also have been about these tiny planets. But because we're moving into that higher state of awareness, moving from a three-dimensional state into a five-dimensional state, so we, you know, are moving to the place where we can manage our emotions and move up to higher levels of consciousness, higher emotions, love, joy, above that bliss, or even just sort of curiosity. Curiosity I love because it's in between the lower vibrational emotions and the higher ones. It's sort of neutral when you're just accepting and you're curious. And as you do that, you can change your energy to look up. But she was very interesting talking about a lot of these Kuiper belt objects and how they are playing out right now and allowing humanity to get curious. And a lot of them are making a lot of impact on this chaotic period in time, because the chaos is what makes the change. It's when people get to the stage of no more, and I think that, a lot of us have gotten to that stage. Now I'm going to read a couple of cards for the weekend. I've got my Ascended Masters here, and I'm just going to give them a bit of a shuffle. A few of those just dropped out, but I don't think they're ready. Hi, Tina. Hello, Rianne. Lovely to see you. And I can see there are a few others watching, and I'm just going to pull. So I'm tuning in to get answers or information or a way forward. What do we need to know? What do we need to do this weekend to just really tune in with our highest self? What do we need to do this weekend to prepare maybe for that solstice that's coming up? And there's another new moon coming up, just six days after that, which is there's a lot of hard angles in that new moon. So let's just ask for, what do we need right now? And nothing is jumping out, so I'm going to cut the pack in 3 places. And I'm going to okay. So receptivity, and that came out, I'm sure, very recently this week, or maybe it was somebody I was reading. Allow yourself to receive. We're moving into this time right now where we are all getting more and more intuitive. Be open to receiving wisdom, be open to receiving inspiration, ideas, be open to receiving anything that just comes to you, and just notice as you allow yourself to receive insights or ideas. And the best way to do that is to get outside, to be outside in nature. And, if you can, be outside in nature with your feet on the ground without shoes, and if not, if you're in winter in the southern hemisphere, touch a tree, just connect with a tree, breathe in nature, see what's happening, listen to the sounds, and just as a daily practice of getting outside and just moving your body, noticing things, you will be open to receiving so much more, and you will get insights and wisdom and just ideas flow to you. And also be open to receiving abundance. we block our own abundance. We think we can't have something, or it's too much, or it's not for us, or this, has never happened before, or a million different things. Just ask yourself, where am I not allowing myself to receive something? And it can be in any way. The next card is about past lives. So I don't know whether this is for somebody who's watching this who is stuck in an issue. It can be a past life, or or even something from our own childhood, but past life issues. Um, I believe we're energy. We've been here before many, many times, and we'll be here again and again. Um, and sometimes, and all the time, we're here now to contend with, to help ourselves through something that we didn't achieve, or we got stuck in a past life. And sometimes those memories can block us. Sometimes we can get stuck in some of our fears, some of our anxieties, some of our angers can be from a past situation. Now, I do hypnosis and regression to find out where people are stuck in those. Sometimes people go back to past lives. Sometimes they expect it and they don't. They go to a situation in this life, and sometimes people do not expect to go to a past life and they do. But I've even if it seems a little bit way out to even think of a past life, when you start to see and put things together, and when it makes sense, you can let go an awful lot of I suppose fears or stuckness. I use it mostly with clients who are stuck in not able to progress, stuck doing the same thing, stuck making the same amount of money, or not making any, um, stuck in making, with the same sort of relationships, stuck with the same fears of, I don't know, speaking in public or doing something bigger. Um, when people are stuck, we have the same pattern and we're repeating it over and over again. There is a part of our psychic that is just stuck in an old pattern, and we need to see what that pattern is to be able to release it, let go of it, and move forward. So if that resonates with any of you, message you. What I might do is put a little link at the end of this for, if anybody is interested in doing that, um, where you can contact me. Okay, so this is this is have compassion. Have absolute compassion for yourself right now. Really get in touch with the child inside. Get in touch with the part of you that needs to be loved more. We need, more than anything, to love ourselves. And a lot of times people that are stuck, especially people that are stuck in not having the right love in their lives, it always goes back to not loving yourself enough, and it has to start with the self. Everything starts with the self. What do we feel? What do we most need to know about ourselves? So we need to release any judgment about ourselves. Give yourself a break. Over the weekend, speak kindly to yourself. Watch the words that you're using. Listen to the words that you're saying, and notice what needs to go. That's reminded me, I've taken more notes. Um, no, I mightn't. I may have already said it. Okay. But focusing on the love and the light in all things, in everyone. When somebody triggers you, and it's really hard to do this, but if you can just notice them as a young child, notice them as a baby, or notice them as been stuck in something and why they are acting out, and just let it go. Then you don't need to analyze it. Just, it's easier to forgive somebody else when you can see them just as being maybe a child throwing the toys out of their cot or something. But we mostly have to start with ourselves. When you can forgive and love and have compassion for yourself, it is so much easier to have compassion for the rest of the world. And the last card that jumped out there is inner wisdom. And we all have it. And the veil is lifting. this whole year, this last few years, we're getting more and more open to our intuition. This card is telling you that you know yourself what you need to do. It may be something that you need to let go of, a pattern. It may be something that you need to actually start doing, that you've been putting off doing or procrastinating on doing. But it's telling you that you know what to do and to trust that wisdom. There's a lot of protection energy all around. I'm even seeing, sometimes I see that actually as an angel wing, this bright light. But what I'm seeing there now is almost like that bubble of energy. Protect yourself, make sure that you're surrounded in love and light, but trust your inner wisdom. And especially when you need to make a new and bigger, when you need to make a decision or make, um, when you need to make a decision about something, tune into that wisdom, because we know what to do, and it should feel light. It should feel light. And when it feels light, it's the right decision. If it feels heavy, it might not be the right decision, and you need to keep looking at it in different ways, so that the way you formulate your words about it will give you the what you need to do or what you do not need to do. That might sound a little bit um, cryptic. Please ask any questions if you have any questions. Hi Joni, lovely to see you. The answer is coming. Good, good. Okay, I'm just going to read 3 from this. So we've got a before, a now, and an after card. So these are the Angel Tarot. And I'm just going to see any information, anything that we need to do coming up to this solstice. I'm going to just... Okay. Oh, lovely. Okay. So the first card, this is coming up quite a lot lately now. It's life experience. Okay. But it's about a significant event. I don't know how many times this card comes out to me actually, but there is this year is spoken about as the year of revolutions and revelations. Now, we need to, hold ourselves back from getting stuck in a revolution, maybe. Yes, if we can remain calm, and yes, we need to stand up for ourselves. Yes, we need to be sovereign, and we need to know what we will and won't accept about any situation. We are the rulers or the leading players in our own lives. Be that leading player. But this is talking about there is a significant life event. Now, I have to tell you that the astrology for the next 6 months, there are some major eye-opening, revelation sort of energy coming up. And the next one, I think, is on the 1st of July. Something happening on the 1st of July, and I'm going to talk about that more on Monday on my live, because I will speak more about I will make a meditation as well for the solstice, which is on Tuesday, and we'll also be looking forward to the next new moon, and there's a lot of stuff happening coming up to that. So this powerful, it's almost like there's going to be there's going to be a powerful revelation. I can't say it any other way. Powerful revelation that leads to massive change. And I know I've been feeling this coming. I'm not going to say it's going to come on the 1st of July or on a certain date. Nobody knows. And even some of these big transits in astrology, even though there's huge eye-opening things happening, the day that things are exact may not be. It's a whole process, but there is an unfolding. There's also a message in this that you need to spread your wings. You need to get bigger. You need to be stronger. You need to go further. You need to dream bigger. And that has come up with what I was saying about this the summer solstice. Think bigger. We've got that Jupiter energy now in Aries, allowing us to really start something, a new phase of our life. This summer solstice is like the next 3-month section, and it sort of opens the veil, and it allows in a lot of wisdom, but it also allows us to see our own sovereign divine energy. We're created by the divine. And what do you want to achieve in your life? The next card is the Three of Earth. Now, the Earth signs would be Pentacles in tarot, and so it's signifying our earth. It signifies buildings, physicality, money, abundance, and this is talking about the power of creativity. We're starting something new, and you have got the power now to create something amazing. What is that? What do you want to create? We are all here to co-create our lives, but to create something. We came with resources. We all are unique. We can all do something incredible. And, I talk a lot about finding your purpose and your passion in life. There'll be, your purpose is what you're passionate about and what you're good at. And it won't be just one thing, it'll be your uniqueness, because there's so many different things together. Um, and when you do that, when you work on that, when you really allow yourself to play and to be good at what you do, and to do it to give freely, to do it for others, knowing that you are here to serve, that you will be rewarded, hugely rewarded, and recognized for your work. When you're doing something that only you do, when you do something that, and you just get so good at it that you become known for that thing, people flock to you. There's also a message here about being a team player. And I think that that's what this new energy, this new age is moving towards. It's a new age of, communities, nobody above anybody else. It's working together. And the last card is the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Earth. Which is, it can be a yes or a starting of something new, and a massive inflow of abundance. When you're doing that thing, or whatever it is, there's a flow of abundance. This new age is going to bring abundance. We are not all going to be, what is the term for those? What do they say? You'll own nothing and be happy. That's not true. we we have we own everything. We own our own selves. We own our own creativity, and we can create our own world. Yes, we'll be in this place to share and listen and commune with other people, but we will be abundant. There will be a flow of abundance, and it may signify a promising new business venture, or a new way of working, or something that will bring you abundance. And the card before it, the three, was working on that creativity. Um, if there's anybody there who's thinking about starting something, there might be important documents or contracts and things to sign. It can be about that as well, to, cross all your T's, get everything straight. The Ace is about starting. It's about starting something, but starting it in a way that feels right to you. So that solstice on Tuesday, and apparently, I can't remember what's his name. Rory Duff is a guy who talks about the energies of the solstice, and he does many more things, but he does these mass meditations before a solstice and an equinox. And he used to say the day before you were in that energy, but he's now saying that you can feel that energy up to 2 weeks beforehand. So a lot of you are already feeling this, moving towards that solstice energy, and we can, you know we're creating the next 3 months. What is the new phase? The summer solstice I love, because we've got that Cancer energy, which is very much about family and nurturing, and beauty, surrounding yourselves with beauty, and doing something you love, and really being passionate about what it is you do. I feel like I'm talking way too long. I was going to keep this to 20 minutes, and I can see it's 40 minutes. So I haven't got any more questions. So I will love you all and leave you all, and have a beautiful weekend. And I will see you back on Monday for that solstice meditation. Love you all. Bye for now.